Hello, everyone. We're super happy to be here today and talk to you about the journey from messy CI scripts to clean code. It's a big promise, but we'll get to the bottom of that. So first of all, hi, we are Christoph, who's a software architect and middleware engineer at Puzzle.
Hi, everyone.
And I'm Rafaela. I'm a software engineer, also in the middleware team, also from Puzzle. We're just below. We are in Zurich and in Bern, and also have a small part of our company in Germany, in Tübingen. So yeah, check us out online. We're super nice. So yeah, as how many of you have run CI/CD pipelines before? Oh, so quite a lot of people. Awesome. So I'm sure some of you have run into those problems. Yeah, it doesn't work on my machine like locally, or it works there, but it doesn't run on the CI platform. And then you get to the state where you just have to push, and then you have to wait. And if it's like not a nice setup or like a huge website or application, then you have to wait and just hope. And if it's really not a nice setup, you have like a lot of complicated and complex CI scripts that in the end you need to debug, and it takes a lot of time and is really, really annoying. So yeah, this is how we know it, how some of us have experienced it, and what I'm telling you we can change, actually. So yes, let's start at the beginning. So we start with our ideal setup. So we develop locally, we test everything locally, then we commit, and then we have the trigger to build, and then we get notified of how the build went. Then we run our tests and get like notifications how it went, and then we deliver the build to the environment and then deploy if everything went smoothly. So, but as I mentioned before, the systems become more and more complex the more you use it. There's like added features, and often the developers are super fast and they add stuff, and you can't really, they don't really care about the documentation. The code is the documentation, and at the end, you added some features. You have drift between your local and your cloud environment, and then the next person who wants to run it, they don't know, oh, there's this new library and I need to just install it. But you don't know, and until you find it, you have wasted like half a day of time. And maybe even the people who did it, they're on vacation and no one knows what they did. But it works online in the CI, so But so that's a huge problem. And then, of course, the big YAML and Groovy scripts. If you're, have a big system, and have some legacy code, and it grows organically, and it just becomes longer and longer with a lot of exceptions, and you need to just really go in there and find where is the error coming from. So or you just need to find the error itself in like endless log files. If you've ever seen Jenkins, then you know what I'm talking about. So basically what we want is that it works on my machine and it works in the CI. I don't want to push and pray. I want to be sure if I deploy it, if it worked on my machine, it works on the CI. I know this. I don't need to like just test it in the worst thing in production. And then what I want is I don't want to go through YAML and Groovy scripts. I want to use a language that I already know, that my team already knows. And so basically what I'm proposing is let's reboot our pipelines. Let's reboot our conveyor belts in our software. So We don't do this like just, blind, because we already have a lot of things going for us. A lot of things changed in the last years. So we have really great and expressive programming languages. Because you can understand code way better than like YAML scripts or Groovy scripts. You like the developers know what their programs should do, and they can like read their programming language. So code is always better than YAML. And then we have those amazing co-pilots and IDEs and ChatGPT who help people who maybe have not or are not yet capable of coding really well, but they help them. They help them along the journey. So we have a lot of support already. And then, of course, we have containers who help us isolate our processes, who make it more cost-effective, who like protect like single tests or environments from like other artifacts. It makes it, we can run things simultaneously, just, nice and sandboxed. So yeah, then of course we already have existing CI servers, and we have our computers that we use every day are super powerful. They are the most powerful that they have ever been, because it's only going up. So, we should utilize all of those things to our advantage and not like let that potential be a waste for us. So, luckily, Dagger, the Dagger platform utilizes all of those things. And Dagger understands itself as a DevOps operating system. And you can already see that it utilizes a lot of different pieces, which are fundamental objects of CI. We have all of the CI servers here. We have the local, our local setup. We have the different functions over here, and then we have Dagger Cloud as well. So let's get into it. So first of all, as I mentioned, we really want to utilize containers to isolate steps, because we want to build maybe something in Node.js. We want to test in Java, and we really want to separate them. We don't want them to run into each other, or we need to also handle directories and artifacts and secrets. And it's most easy to do that when we separate everything and it's nice and clean. So basically what we want is that we write our Dagger pipelines. We write our functions, and we put those functions nicely together and create modules that then represent our pipeline. And then we can, if they run for us, we can, if the functions run for us, we can, put them together, make a module, share them with our team, and see how they like it, if they can utilize them, maybe for their projects. And then if it works for them, we can also share them to the Daggerverse, which is an online community platform where you can share your pieces of code or pipeline functions or modules. So basically, we are replacing the CI scripts with functions that we can program and that we can reuse for different projects, and that we can piece together, like building blocks. Yes. And now let's check out the Daggerverse so you can see. hope it works. Yes. So you can really see there's a lot of different modules already available. We have something for security. We have just a module template. We have something to integrate GitHub, something to integrate Argo City. And just to show you, we from Puzzle also contributed some modules. So, you know, maybe one of you will be the next person to share something with us that they found really useful, or which you found really useful at your work, and that you want to help the community with. Yes. So yes, so what we gain from this is that we standardize our functions. We just don't have to think or have to minimize our thinking, oh, how can I code this? Let's go to Stack Overflow and see if other people have done this before, or I will just see, and maybe you search and search, and you just go to Daggerverse, you see, oh, there's a module for that. I take this, I integrate it into my CI pipeline, and it works. It's very simple like this, and you know, yes, we are at the beginning of the stage, so yes, I won't lie to you, you might have to code some modules yourself, you might have to add the functions, you might have to see or add to the modules to like add functional ability, but in the end, it's standardized, it works better because we are all working on it together. It's the community effort. Oops. So yes, another thing is that by eliminating those differences, by standardizing our functions and our modules, we strip away the push and play and pray, because we can just take those modules and integrate them in like any CI server and into any CI script, from like your local laptop to GitHub, GitLab, Jenkins. You just add you have to have the framework, yes, but then you add your function and it runs, which is really beautiful because it makes your setup agnostic to like the CI vendors. You can, if you want, you can switch. It like opens a lot of possibilities for you, or you can even, if you want to, use different vendors or different CI servers if that is what your project calls for. Yes, then also speed is a thing. If you've ever waited 30 minutes for a pipeline to run, you know that, yes, it's nice to take a break, but after the first 10 minutes, it gets boring and you really want this to be done and to go forward. So there's chasing, so you know, it avoids unnecessary rebuilds and test reruns when nothing has changed with that part. So you really get faster results. And then one thing that is really dear to my heart, it's you can program in the language that you or your team already works in. Yes, there are not as many languages as language SDKs there yet. We have TypeScript, we have Python and Go, but it's way better than, you know, relying on Groovy and YAML. But because you can use an actual programming language, and you can use the programming language that your team uses. Hopefully Java's coming soon, maybe. But you know, it's also easier to write tests for like developers to actually write the tests for their program, because in the language that the program is programmed in. So yes. The last piece of this, not too salesy pitch, I hope, is that you can also visualize your pipelines. There's Dagger Cloud, where you can visualize your pipeline, you can you can present it to your teammates, and you can debug all the different stages in Dagger Cloud. And yes, it gives you just a really nice view inside of your pipeline, and yeah, maybe also gives you an idea where things might go wrong if you need to debug. So yes, Steff will also show you this, hopefully. And yeah, so I give over to him for the demo.
Thanks, Ella. So now I think it's time to show something from Dagger. So Dagger, the open source engine for CI/CD. I hope that the demo gods will be with me today. What I prepared for you is something that happened in our company. We have system engineers, they start building microservices with Python, and they were asking for help. So I said, oh, I don't have Python installed, I'm not really Python developer, but we saw that when we're using Dagger, I easily can go to go to the team, help them developing their pipelines, or also help develop their code. So here's just a small application that they use for bootstrapping microservices written in Python. And with that, I'd like to show you some of the powers of Dagger. First, we can build and test apps locally without installing all the tooling that you need. I just run the Dagger pipeline as they run on CI. I can develop in Python, the same language as also the app is written in, so I don't have to choose to switch editors. I can use my normal tooling, and it works for building app and building pipelines. And one thing is also good, I'm fast in developing my pipelines because I run them locally. It's all container-based, as Ella told us, so I can run it on my computer, build it, test it, and when it's good, then I do the push, and then it runs the same on CI. We are here just a small Python app that has some endpoints. It's a skeleton just to start for little API-based services. And on my laptop, I don't have Python installed. There's some other Python versions that I have, and when I had Python, it's not have to be the same as they use in their project. And when I help another project, then you know it. We have to switch tooling, switch versions, and here we see that there's Python 3.12, what they use in their application Docker file. So it would be good that I can also build it, use the same version when I test the application. So I prepared some stuff because I don't want to do everything, but we have really good docs from Dagger where we can start when we'd like also to implement our pipelines. Normally, just going to the install page, and you see we just install the Dagger CLI, which communicates with the Dagger engine, or the Dagger, and also it starts the Dagger engine so that we can run it where it's needed. For me, it was also good because one of the system engineers was really also on the Dagger hype, so they already started a pipeline. Starting a pipeline, we have also here some really nice documentation on adopting Dagger. So there, how you start, choose your languages, integrate with CI. And in the quick start, we see how we Daggerize an example. We need just our source code, and we have here the initialization for our pipeline or for our module. In this version of Dagger, a pipeline is also a module. So it is needed that you can integrate other modules in your pipeline. And you see here the 3 main supported SDKs, how you do it for your SDK. So I already initialized my project. So you just start by your source code, initialize your pipeline, and then you have the whole setup where you can start writing pipelines. So the initialization was done. I told that I'd like to have the pipeline inside the CI directory, and then it generated some Python file that we can use to write our pipeline. Here we see system engineering was already writing some methods. I think the first one is just to have a base container where you have Python installed, you have pip, and you do all the installation that you can then run your application or build your application with this base. Build container, even more stuff. You see here we're just using the Dagger API, but you could also use just a Docker file. And here you see it's a little bit the same. This env variable would be the env command in a Docker file. So you have here lots of application functions. Also the linting is already here, different other lintings, and after that I'd like to extend the testing. They have normal test where you spin up your application inside the test framework, but I'd like to do an end-to-end test where I run the application container, connect to it from another container where I run the tests. So it's a really end-to-end test where you see if your app is running the same as it runs in production. I start with Dagger functions. When I have a module, it shows me all the functions that we have. So the CLI connects to the engine. All modules are loaded there. It's all loaded on the fly. All your dependencies are there. So we see here all methods that are available. So I'd say I'd like to call the build container function. And just see what happens there. Then it tells me you're missing a flag. So I could check inside my code, or I can also use help functions, because documentation of your functions you can also use here. What we see is a lot of possible functions we can call on the return value, because we get back in container. But we also here the arguments that we have to provide so that we have everything we need. We have to give in the source, so it will load my local directory into the container, and then the build container function should start and build our container. So there's lots of dependencies, so you know it takes a while. Here also, when you like to optimize this, then caching comes in. We have Docker layer caching, and also the DAGs, the graph where you see all where their Dagger calculates all the dependencies and knows when this file changed, I have to do only 2 or 3 things to calculate. I don't have to rebuild everything, execute every function. That's all cached, so it will be faster when you run it the next time. But you see, it's not as bad as a front-end NPM project, but also Python has lots of dependencies. And now I get the result. It's a container, some information on it, and I now say I would like to see the standard out when it's running, so I'll chain functions. So I can use the return container and do something on it. Std out. I see. But this is when you remember how to build pipelines, you also do some bash scripting and stuff, and that's not what we like to do. We'd like to code our pipelines. So for that, we're going to see what we can do to implement our end-to-end test. Let this run. Background. So I prepared a test. I show you some tests here in Python. This is the original test where they do some. They use the fast API, and then they use some test framework to run and spin up the application to do the tests. The extended test now will be we just do some API requests, and we don't have any knowledge of the application. We can just call some endpoints, and then we have the tests and hope that the results are okay. We see here the original PyTest function that runs PyTest with a given file that I give in with the parameter. And we see here that was the standard out of our previous call. So I say I'd like to run the PyTest function. I know that I also have to give the source and the path where my files are. So it's the API. So it's the API test. So this is just a normal test that it will run. We have also the build container underlining it. It's using this one. So we hope that this will gonna run through. But my task was to run the app container as a service, connect to this service, and then use it from our tests. So we can go back to our documentation. And there we have good manuals where we see functions and chaining, what I told you a little bit. And we have developers manual, where we see as example how we can bind services in functions. So we see that we just start our container as a service. So we tell the exposed port, and we also tell that we want to start the container as a service, and then from our test function we can connect to this one. So it's slower than usual here, but I hope that I can do the changes and then run it afterwards. So, as you know, copy-paste to start doing something. I'd like to have our app as service as our method. Then I'll use the other method that we already have. It's app container. It needs our source. So I'm calling just our app container function, and I'd say we'd like to have it as service. So my app as service function, so I just do some Python programming. My app as service function is here, and I can use it. Then I'd like to add a new function for testing. So I say end-to-end or end-to-end for doing my end-to-end tests. And for this, I sneak here in and see what I have to do. So I'd like to do a service binding. So I'll get my other service, and then I can use this one inside my test. I have here my build container. Then first I say I'd like to have a building app. I call my other function app as service. And now I hope that everything is prepared so that I can run the pipeline. What I do normally is to use the Dagger functions. This will compile everything, initialize everything, and so I see if my code is right or not. And it's not. I hope it's only a typo. If not, then my demo gods were not so happy. Okay, I think time is going up, so I'll switch to the solution. I hope that
Next time we'll make sure to sacrifice something before.
yeah, I think so. So I hope that my solutions works. And now we try to call my end-to-end test. Here I have to give source. The rest should be configured. They improved here also on the output on the console, and I hope that the shortcut works. It opens Dagger Cloud, where I'm connected. When everything is configured, then we see all my pipeline runs here. We see that there's some errors, but this is my end-to-end test running. We see here inside it's always traces, so you have all the information you need. The traces you can also use your common tools for doing observability, that you then also can track them at other places. Yeah, what I see here, locally we were lucky. We have 100% of our end-to-end tests running through, and with that I could help my colleagues. Now I just can, what the next step would be is just extend the GitLab CI. We have here Python test that we called, is the call that we used before, and also end-to-end test is really the same. We have the same CLI installed, and then all the calls work the same, local and in CI. So I hope you could get a little understanding on how to develop pipelines with Dagger, even though when not everything was working as I expected. Yeah, my connection is not so good.
Not the greatest here. So yes, thank you, Christoph, for this demo. I think we all know how it is. Not everything works, especially when you present it to a crowd. So yes, we hope we could generate some interest from you for Dagger. We really are hyped about it. And Dagger has an amazing community. It has a super active Discord channel where you can get help from like installation. Like for example, if you're using NixOS, it can be a little bit tricky sometimes. And you get excellent help there. Can really, really recommend it. They have a great GitHub where they open source all their code. And yeah, on their website you can find everything. There's the QR code where you just that just sends you there. And yes, yeah, really nice, really great community. And if we piqued your interest even more and you want to hear more about it, we'll have a Dagger meetup from Dagger Switzerland on the 21st of November, basically here in Zurich. The Puzzle office is one level below, but depending on how many people there are, maybe we can talk to Isovalent for this amazing space. So yes, you already know where to find us, so maybe we can see you there as well. And yes, a huge thank you for coming to our talk and showing interest. We really like to share our passion with you. We are from Puzzle, and we're actually the first partners of Dagger in Europe. So yeah, if you have any questions, come to us, visit our website, special landing page just for Dagger. But yes, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us. If you're burning for Dagger like us, you know, just maybe consider joining us at Puzzle. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, please, now is the time.
You mentioned Dagger Cloud a few times. I want
Yes.
to know, do I absolutely have to use it, or is there a scenario in which I can carry on with without it?
Please repeat the question in the microphone.
Okay, so the question was if you have to use Dagger Cloud or not. So Dagger Cloud, you don't have to use it. It's just like visualization of your pipelines. You can use it for free, but if you'd like to have some really good caching mechanism and also runners from Dagger, then you can buy services and use this, but you don't have to use it. It's just something that you get with Dagger.
Yeah, sure. My question is about secrets. So let's assume that I want some private dependencies from Artifactory. Maybe I want a cert so I can push an image I built with Docker to some registry. How does that work with Dagger?
There's a type secret for as argument. So when you define it as secret, then it's the same as credentials in Jenkins or something like this.
But would you sync that to GitHub Actions, for example? That secret. Where does it get stored?
You have to provide it example as a environment variable. So you can have in your GitHub action, you can have your secret, and then you just reference the name of the key.
Yes?
Yeah, so I found my piece with YAML and together with Copilot. Just what I think would be really nice, right? If you have it now in code, can I also test it as I do it with other code? Because usually YAML pipelines are extremely hard to test.
Also, you're asking testing your pipeline now because you have a programming language. That's the goal, yes. Then you also test your pipeline as you test your code. You can do it really the same way. So for me, I normally do one module for the pipeline, and then I have a second module for testing the pipeline. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think using Dagger from the language, like you showed with Python, is absolutely fantastic. I'm curious about your experience. Have you encountered situations in which you had to use language features, like standard library functions from Python or from wherever, to make your pipeline look better, I don't know, improve it in some way, or are you like, is it just like you're always using Dagger and this like DAG syntax APIs and packing everything there, but like not really using anything from the language?
So the question is if you just use Dagger functionality and the APIs, or also using language libraries. So it's the same as writing code. You just import your libraries and you can use it. So you really, there's no boundary for how you use your language.
Right. My question was more of like I saw you build 3 modules, so I'm curious whether you had to resort to use standard library functions at all at any point, or not. Like you were just building using the steps from Dagger, and that's all.
No, we're not just using steps from Dagger. We can also do some using libraries for parallelism or stuff like this. So here I mostly relied on the Dagger APIs to do normal pipeline stuff like building apps and testing stuff. But when you go further and have some more complex functions, then you're really inside coding.
Can I just ask, the meaning with your question, is Dagger API sufficient? Is that what you're after?
No, I was also curious, like, when you are like advancing too far away with how complicated the platform becomes, do you use like, I don't know, some crypto functions from the runtime can give you, or some parallelization, like you mentioned? I was curious about that. If you say there are situations in which that makes sense, because so far I've seen examples that are more or less vanilla, like just Dagger, and I was really curious, like about other scenarios where the language steps in and now it can give you added value.
Yeah, perhaps for your question, when we see that the Dagger API is not enough for us, we need more, then we just write our functions, and then we can use it or also share it how you like.
Also, if you're interested in more advanced examples, join the Meetup, because there, it lives, like the Meetup lives from sharing like more advanced features. This is just, oh, there's this thing. So yeah, we try to keep it very vanilla and very basic, but the Meetup is just the place to be for you then.
I noticed that in this Daggerverse, by the way, beautiful name, there are some components marked as partners, some components marked as community. What's the difference?
So partners, like we are partners from Dagger. So yeah, our company partnered up with Dagger. So to like really further develop it further, and then community are just singular people.
Yeah, but the partners we're working close with Dagger. So it's now it's just to say it's developed from a partner, so the quality should be better than others. But they will add more checks that you see how evolved the module is.
So they are all available under like standard license, right?
That's all open source. Just import it in your module and use it. Okay. Yeah. Thanks a lot. I think.
Wait.
Yeah.
Do we have still time?
One more.
Okay, so does Dagger have some like server mode? So can you use only Dagger instead of, for example, you running it from the GitHub pipeline and using GitHub runners, like for example the Argo workflow? So they use pure Kubernetes and simply run these jobs on the cluster.
There are integrations for Tecton also, or
So for the runtime perspective, you can like execute the Dagger, so it is somehow some edge how you can develop your pipeline, but the runtime is somehow related with the, for example, GitHub or GitLab or Tecton or something, right?
The integration is related to what you're using as a CI server, but then everything is container based, but you can have different runtime environments. But normally it's just a Docker daemon and connection between those.
So simply if some CI engine is providing the way that you can run containers, so you can also execute the Dagger, and it's somehow portable, right?
Yes, it's really based on containers, so that's the thing why you can really port and use it locally and on all your container-based CI.
Yeah, Dagger is basically containers for your pipeline.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Perfect. Thank you.